This is the Magnum Ui5. That U stands for urban. It's pretty nice, kind of a city bike. This one's actually got the rack installed, which costs an additional $40. And they've even got a pair of matching fenders. They're sort of metallic black, full length, really nice. And those are like an extra 30 bucks or so. So you can really outfit this thing, and it even comes with lights. The front is integrated, although you do have to power it on by pressing that little button on top. And the back is a couple of double A's in there, and it's got like a little kind of a button along the bottom. There it is, so you can see it lights up right there a little bit, but it's also a reflector, so good stuff. I really like the accessory package that they've put together here. While the rack is a little bit larger than standard gauge and might not work with all of the clip-on panniers, it does have this little triangle for use with bungee cord. You could easily use ones that have strapping or whatever, so it's kind of nice. And it's got these 4 solid bolt-on points with the chain stay, or actually the seat stay, which resembles the MI5, which is their mountain version electric bike. So pretty cool stuff. You could use probably a similar rack for that bike, and it just ties into the nice black rims here, and even the motor, it's black. I really like the tires as well. These are Schwabe Big Ben. They're known for being kind of a Kevlar guard, so really puncture resistant that way, and soft. They give it a little bit of a sense of bounce and cushion when you're riding. 26 by 2.15, so fairly fat. And the brown just looks nice. It's kind of that like luxury kind of, I don't know, just it's more stylish. Fork matches, of course the whole frame is white. It does only come in this one color and this one size, but the frame is really unique, and you can kind of see how it protects the battery. It gives you that low step, sort of a easy access to hopping on, but it's strong, and it's got this oversized tapered head tube here. Again, sort of the matching fork is nice. It's a little bit more basic, just a NEX SR Sun Tour. There's no lockout, there's no rebound adjust or anything. It's just a soft, casual, fun suspension fork, and that's better than not having suspension in my opinion. Overall, this thing weighs about 52 pounds with that rack, so maybe like 51 pounds, 50 pounds. Part of that's because it's got a larger battery, and again, the suspension fork and the bigger tires and stuff. So it's not too heavy with all that considered. And it comes in this single frame size, which is 17 inches, and that's the seat post right there that I was measuring earlier. It's got pretty good stopping power. It's nice, a little bit more generic brake levers. I didn't see the, I think it's like Alltech or something, and they, they kind of resemble the ones I see a lot of times. Tektro brake levers. They've got that same rubber leading edge, and this one, the left lever, actually has a motor inhibitor, but not the right brake. So if you're in pedal assist and you really need to stop and you want to stop that motor, make sure you squeeze the left lever. Anyway, a mechanical rotor, or mechanical calipers down here, also Tektro, 180 millimeter disc in the front, 160 in the rear. So plenty of stopping power for a bike like this, in my opinion. Really nice kickstand. It's a little bit oversized at the bottom. Even, I think, a little bit adjustable. There's a screw on the back side, so that's cool. Nice to be able to stand this up. And again, just it's kind of a handsome build overall. Good accent colors, everything like that. The stem is also adjustable. So Pro Max, it's tool free. You can just slip that down, kind of pull this up, and you can actually raise or lower the handlebars, and then you can kind of twist the bar at the same time, so you can really dial it in. I tend to leave it a little bit more in this upright position because it gives you this heads-up view as you're riding. You're not leaning so far forward, your neck and back don't get sore. So I really like that. Kind of generic grips here, but they are color matched, which is cool, and they feel pretty solid, though they aren't locking. So for urban riding, it's fine. And then I guess we've got our shifters over here. So this is a 7-speed bike. Got a fairly basic Shimano Tourney derailleur right here. Tourney's sort of the entry level, but it's still Shimano, decent stuff. Got the seven sprockets right here in the back, and then a single chainring right here with a nice metal bash guard. And that's going to help protect your pants a little bit, or your dress if they're kind of sloughing over this, while also protecting the teeth on that chainring from a curb. So very cool. that way. Also a nice little slap guard over here and a quick disconnect for the rear motor if you need to take that off and do some maintenance. Definitely nice to have that quick release on the front wheel, and that's gonna, you know, shorten the bike a little bit and reduce some of the weight if you're transporting this in a car or trying to carry it upstairs or something. Definitely like to see that. And here is the cadence sensor. So as you pedal, this is one of the ways that the bike activates. Your crank arm passes, kind of spins this, like some magnets inside this plastic disc, and they pass a sensor down here, and that sends a signal that the motor should activate. So it's really just measuring that you're pedaling, and it sort of switches on and off at whatever level you've selected in the control systems up front. So I'll get to that right after I talk about the motor. This is an 8-fun, internally geared, rear-mounted, 350-watt hub motor. I'd say it's like the standard. It's just like basic in terms of power, pretty reliable, pretty affordable, not very heavy. So I see that on a lot of bikes, and while it might not, you know, push you up a steep hill, in pedal assist mode, especially if you're in a lower gear, you can pedal along and it should do pretty well. It should get decent range too, because the battery here uses lithium-ion cells, pretty high quality, but still relatively lightweight. They're made by Samsung, and it offers 36 volts, 13 amp hours of capacity. So it's almost half a kilowatt of energy in that thing, and you should be getting 20 plus miles pretty easily, even if you're in throttle mode. But again, the terrain matters, and you know, the weight and stuff if you're carrying extra stuff. By the way, max weight on this 25 kilograms. It's good to know. The battery is removable, so along with the wheel, you can take this off to reduce the weight of the bike. It's got these keys here. You just put that in, and then you have to pull out on the battery. There we go. Did it. This little lever just kind of helps you. You can see this nice custom designed frame. Even all the wiring and stuff is internally routed, so this is a purpose-built electric bike. I can really appreciate that. It's pretty beautiful. Here's what the battery looks like inside. You can see there's like a fuse at the bottom, and there's the plug. Plugs right in. There's the power button that we're going to get to in a moment, but the base is really what caught my attention at first. You can see that here's a port for charging the battery, so you can charge it on or off the bike, and a USB port, so you could actually charge your cell phone or an MP3 player or something like that. I was complaining on the Ui5. Oh, it is a little bit tight in here, but you know, it works. Anyway, I was complaining on the Ui5 because, you know, it was kind of crammed back here. It was difficult to actually flip that rubber flap up and try to plug the charger in, but it's a little bit more spacious on this model. Still a little bit precarious if you had like a USB device plugged in and then you're running the wire right next to that chain ring. I would say just be careful. You don't want to accidentally get that snagged. But you could actually just take this battery inside and use it as backup power for your phone or something. It doesn't have to be on the bike to work, but you do have to turn it on independently. So there's a power switch right there and a little LED indicator that you really cannot see while you're riding. Even you know, if it wasn't covered by this top tube, it's just kind of faint. So that's step one. Step two is you come up here, press power on the display panel. Okay, there we go. So it comes to life. Looks pretty good. It's kind of generic. It's, you know, kind of modular here, and the wires are kept relatively clean, but the display panel is right next to the trigger throttle over here, so it gets a little bit crowded, but the angle on this is better than the Ui5 I was looking at. On that bike, because it's a 21 speed, everything was kind of colliding a little bit, and they had the throttle on the right side. And you can see, I think they put it on the left side here because it had to be pushed out pretty far, and the reach to get to the throttle wasn't too comfortable. So I really like this setup, and again, that's part of the advantage of having fewer gears, but you also have fewer gears, so keep that in mind. It defaults to assist level 3 down here, but the display also shows your power in your battery pack. So you've got 6 out of 6 bars right now, speed in miles per hour. There's actually a power bar above the battery that shows like how much power you're using, so like the current that's being used. And then assist level. You can go all the way down to 0 and use it in throttle mode only. There's the throttle. But when you do that, it's really weak. So the throttle power is actually capped by the level of assist that you're in. So if you go all the way up to 6, then you're getting all the power, okay? And it actually goes all the way around. So if I arrow up one more time, it's back to 0. So that's a quick way to get to the higher or lower settings. Then there's this set button right here, and it sort of changes this other area of the display. So you can see your odometer, your trip time, your max speed, trip distance, that kind of stuff. So fairly standard. Does a good job. Again, I do like that the headlight is wired in, but you know, in order to get it to go, you gotta press that button here. And it is aimable. It says Kendo by Spaninga. That's that one. Here's that backlight again. It says Solo by Spaninga, and you're gonna have to turn this on as well. So the only downside, especially of the front one, is that if you leave it on, it's gonna wear through those AA batteries, maybe overnight if you forget. And that front headlight, you know, it's got a lot more battery capacity here to work with, and that's rechargeable, but it can still be forgotten. So sometimes it's nice when it's sort of connected to the display and you can turn it on or off that way. And I guess, you know, one of my complaints about the battery in general is that, you know, you can turn the bike off up here, but you're gonna have to remember to turn off the battery as well, or it's just gonna be kind of like sitting there primed and leaking a little bit of energy with those LED lights. So I don't know. Ounce pro wheel cranks, you know, kind of generic Welgo pedals, C127. They give you enough of traction for around town. They work all right. Promax seat post right here, 27.2 millimeters if you want to try to replace that with a thud buster or suspension. And then a Ui5 branded Soleil Royale saddle. It's really nice looking. Take the keys out. They do not have to be left in when riding, which is great. Get that kickstand going. And I'm just going to start off, I think, in level 6 with the throttle mode to give you some idea of how powerful this thing can be. Okay. Let's see. Getting ready to do it. There we go. We're up to above 20 miles per hour right now, pretty quickly. Feeling really smooth with those tires, the suspension fork. It's good times with this bike. I definitely like it, and there's a lot of value at that $14.99 price point. You get a big battery, a solid 1-year warranty, you get pedal assist, you get throttle, and even though it'd be nice if the throttle activated at full power, since it's kind of a dynamic range here, it'd be nice if you could, you know, use that, be in like throttle mode or pedal assist level 1 and go all the way to max power. It still does a decent job, you know, and I have fun with this bike. It works pretty well. So yeah, I'm gonna try to demonstrate the cadence sensor now. Watch for when I pedal, how quickly the motor starts and stops. So you can see that it's fairly responsive. I'm not sure how many magnets are inside. It might be a 6 magnet, it might be a 12 magnet, but it's fairly compact. It's a little bit more tucked away than some of the older ones with the big magnets showing, and that means it's gonna get less debris and hopefully not kind of gunk up as much. So yeah, that's the Magnum Ui5. For the full write-up on this and other Magnum electric bikes, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. Ride safe.